Imagine a world where every child feels safe, valued, and respected, regardless of where they come from or who they are. Now, picture the opposite, where cruelty, isolation, and fear define the daily reality for many, especially in schools and workplaces. Bullying is not just an unfortunate event, it's a devastating force that takes away a person's sense of worth and hope. But here's the thing, you can change that. Today, I'm asking you to join me in taking a stand, not tomorrow, not later, but now, because if we don't act, if we don't stand strong together, bullying will continue to tear people down, to push them into shadows where they feel invisible, forgotten, alone. You have the power to make sure that doesn't happen. By the end of this talk, I want you to leave knowing that your actions matter and you have the strength to make a real difference. Bullying is often perceived as an isolated issue affecting only the victim, but in reality, it is a societal problem that impacts everyone, from those directly involved to the larger community. Bullying is not confined to schoolyards or playgrounds. It follows people into their homes, workplaces, and digital spaces, leaving invisible scars that ripple outward, affecting families, friends, and entire communities. The truth is that bullying is not just a problem for those who are targeted, it's a problem for all of us. When bullying occurs, it creates a toxic environment. Victims suffer emotionally and psychologically, often carrying the effects of bullying for years, but the impact doesn't stop there. Bullying erodes trust and harms relationships. It fosters a climate of fear where people feel unsafe or unworthy, even if they are not directly involved in the bullying. The atmosphere of intimidation and exclusion that bullying creates has a negative effect on everyone's well-being, making it harder for people to thrive, collaborate, and be their best selves. For example, imagine a workplace where bullying is ignored or tolerated. Even employees who are not directly bullied can feel the effects. Morale is low, productivity declines, and employees might feel hesitant to speak up or contribute for fear of becoming the next target. This same pattern plays out in schools, where students who are not bullied may still suffer from the environment created by bullying. The bullying dynamic makes everyone more anxious and the sense of community is weakened. It's not just the bullied person who feels the pain, it's the entire group that is affected. This means that ending bullying isn't only about supporting those who are targeted, it's also about fostering a healthy, positive environment where everyone feels safe and valued. When we stand strong against bullying, we are protecting not just the individual victim, but the collective well-being of everyone around them. By creating a supportive environment, we help individuals develop healthier self-esteem, better social skills, and greater resilience. We help ensure that no one is excluded and no one is left feeling isolated or afraid. Furthermore, by standing up against bullying, we challenge the attitudes and behaviors that allow bullying to thrive in the first place. We help change societal norms by showing that cruelty is not acceptable and kindness is the standard. This shift has the power to change entire communities, creating spaces where empathy and respect are the norm and where bullying cannot survive. When we act collectively and stand strong against bullying, we can reshape the culture in profound ways, making it one where people build each other up instead of tearing each other down. The message here is clear. Bullying is not just the victim's problem, it's all of ours. By standing strong, by refusing to let bullying go unnoticed or unchecked, we are building a stronger, healthier, and more compassionate community for everyone. Each one of us has a role to play in ending bullying, and when we stand together, we have the power to make lasting change. The power of kindness is one of the most profound forces in the world. It doesn't require grand gestures or heroic acts sometimes. The smallest act of kindness can change the course of someone's life. When it comes to bullying, kindness is not only a tool for healing, but also a powerful weapon in preventing further harm. Every act of kindness, whether it's a smile, a kind word, or standing up for someone in need, creates a ripple effect that can shift someone's perspective, provide comfort, and even restore a sense of hope where it was once lost. Too often we underestimate how far a simple act of kindness can go. A person who is being bullied often feels isolated, powerless, and unseen. The cruel words and actions of a bully can make them believe that they are alone in their struggle, that nobody cares, or that they are not worthy of respect. Yet a moment of kindness can break through that darkness. A friendly word, a gesture of support, or someone simply reaching out to acknowledge them can remind that person that they are valuable, that they are seen, and that they are not alone. This simple acknowledgement can be enough to restore their dignity and sense of self-worth, and it can even give them the courage to stand up against the bullying they're facing. Kindness, however, is not just about responding to those who are victims of bullying. It is also about fostering an environment where bullying doesn't thrive in the first place. When kindness is the default mode of interaction within a community, bullying becomes harder to sustain. People who show compassion, understanding, and empathy don't tolerate cruelty or exclusion. They create a culture where respect and consideration are the standard. In such an environment, bullies are less likely to feel empowered to act, and even if they do, their behavior is met with resistance, not just from the people they target, but from the community at large. Standing strong against bullying, then, is not just about reacting to harmful behavior, it is about proactively creating an atmosphere of kindness. When we make kindness a priority, we set a tone for the entire environment. Whether at school, at work, or in the community, when kindness becomes part of the everyday fabric, bullying struggles to find a foothold. It becomes easier to identify those who are isolated or in need of support, and it becomes more natural to step in and offer help. Moreover, kindness doesn't just impact the person receiving it, it also impacts the person offering it. When we choose kindness, we affirm our own humanity, and we nurture our ability to connect with others on a deeper level. The more we practice kindness, the more we create a positive feedback loop. People respond to kindness with gratitude, and that gratitude fuels more kindness. This cycle continues, spreading through entire communities, workplaces, and schools, creating a collective force that can challenge and ultimately reduce bullying. Ultimately, kindness is not just a tool for combating bullying, it's the foundation of a culture where bullying has no place. It's a force that empowers the marginalized, supports the vulnerable, and connects us all. When we stand strong against bullying with kindness, we don't just put an end to harmful behaviors, we create a world where kindness becomes the norm, where empathy is the foundation, and where every individual feels valued. In this world, bullying can't survive. Empathy versus apathy is at the heart of the battle against bullying, and understanding the difference is essential in making a real change. Bullying thrives in environments where people are indifferent to the suffering of others, where they choose not to see or acknowledge the pain that someone else is enduring. This apathy, whether passive or active, enables bullies to continue their behavior unchecked and unchallenged. On the other hand, empathy creates a barrier to bullying. Empathy requires us to step into someone else's shoes, to understand and feel their pain, and to respond with kindness, support, and action. It's not just about sympathizing with someone, it's about feeling their struggle and actively doing something to change their situation. Apathy in its simplest form is the decision to look away. It's the silence when a friend is being picked on, or the failure to intervene when someone is being harassed. When we allow bullying to happen without reacting, we are complicit in it. It's not enough to simply not participate in the bullying, we must also actively reject it. Apathy breeds a culture of indifference, where the bully is emboldened by the lack of resistance, and the victim is left to suffer in silence. When bullying is ignored, it reinforces the notion that it is acceptable or that it's not important enough to warrant a response. This cycle perpetuates itself until it becomes deeply ingrained in the environment. Empathy, on the other hand, creates the opposite effect. When we choose to empathize with someone who is being bullied, we make a choice to break the cycle. Empathy allows us to not only understand the hurt someone is going through, but also motivates us to do something about it. It's the friend who steps in to stop the bullying, the classmate who offers a kind word to the victim, the colleague who speaks up against hurtful jokes in the office. Empathy prompts action, and this action can make all the difference. Empathy transforms passive witnesses into active allies, turning bystanders into defenders and potentially altering the course of someone's life. In fact, the presence of empathy in a community has the power to completely change the dynamics around bullying. In a school or workplace where people care about one another's well-being, where empathy is the foundation of interactions, bullying becomes harder to sustain. People are more likely to intervene when they can connect with the person being targeted, to offer support when they recognize the signs of someone in pain. Empathy helps build a culture where bullying is not just discouraged but actively prevented, because the community is unified in the belief that everyone deserves respect, kindness, and safety. However, it's important to recognize that empathy also helps the bully. Often those who bully are acting out of their own pain, insecurity, or past trauma. When we show empathy, not just for the victim, but also for the bully, we can begin to understand the deeper issues at play and address them more effectively. Rather than condemning the bully outright, empathy allows us to recognize their humanity and understand why they act the way they do. This doesn't mean excusing their behavior, but it opens the door for change. By showing empathy, we can address the root causes of bullying and work to prevent it from happening in the first place. Ultimately, empathy isn't just a tool for protecting the vulnerable, it's a tool for healing and transformation. It has the power to dismantle the culture of bullying, replacing it with a culture of compassion, support, and shared humanity. By embracing empathy and rejecting apathy, we create a world where bullying cannot take root, where everyone has the chance to feel safe, seen, and respected. Too often, the focus of conversations about bullying is placed solely on the victim, but bullying is a multifaceted issue that impacts everyone within a community: victims, bystanders, perpetrators, and the community as a whole. While the emotional, psychological, and physical toll on the victim is undeniable, the ripple effects of bullying reach far beyond the person being targeted. When we fail to address bullying at its core, we're allowing its destructive impact to extend outward, poisoning relationships, damaging trust, and ultimately weakening the very fabric of our communities. Bystanders who may not be directly involved in the bullying still bear witness to the harmful behavior. They are often left feeling helpless, uncomfortable, or guilty for not taking action. When bullying occurs and bystanders do nothing, it can create a sense of complicity where the victim feels abandoned and the bully feels empowered. The apathy of witnesses not only exacerbates the victim's suffering, but it also normalizes the bullying behavior, allowing it to continue without resistance. The message that bullying is tolerated can spread throughout a community, creating a toxic environment where cruelty becomes acceptable and safe. Bystanders who do intervene, however, can dramatically alter the course of events. When they stand up to bullies or offer support to those being bullied, they send a powerful message that bullying is not acceptable. These interventions, though often small in scale, can have a profound impact on the individual being bullied. A simple act of standing with them, offering a kind word, or speaking out in their defense shows them that they are not alone, that someone cares, that their pain is seen, and that they matter. This support can help restore the victim's sense of safety and dignity, giving them the strength to confront the bullying or seek further help. Moreover, bystanders who take a stand contribute to the creation of a culture that values respect and empathy over cruelty. When we as individuals or as a collective actively oppose bullying, we make it clear that such behavior has no place in our communities. The more people stand up against bullying, the harder it becomes for the bully to operate without being challenged. When everyone plays their part, bullying is less likely to be tolerated, and a positive shift in behavior becomes more achievable. In addition to the victim and the bystanders, the perpetrator of the bullying is also affected by the culture of bullying they help perpetuate. Bullies may act out of frustration, jealousy, or insecurity, often due to their own unresolved emotional struggles. They may not fully understand the consequences of their actions or the lasting damage they are causing. When a community refuses to accept bullying, when individuals intervene and hold bullies accountable for their actions, it offers them the opportunity to reflect and change. Addressing bullying means addressing the underlying issues that contribute to it. In the right environment, bullies can be taught to understand the hurt they cause and to adopt more positive behaviors. This approach not only helps the victim, but also offers a chance for the bully to grow, reflect, and ultimately become a more compassionate individual. The impact of bullying on the entire community is far-reaching. It creates a divide, a sense of us versus them, where trust and unity are compromised. Bullying leaves emotional scars that can linger, sometimes for years, affecting how people interact with each other and view themselves. If left unchecked, bullying can lead to a widespread sense of fear, anxiety, and insecurity, where individuals hesitate to be themselves or speak their truth. On the other hand, when bullying is actively confronted, it brings people together, fostering a sense of belonging and shared values. Communities that stand united against bullying are stronger, more resilient, and better equipped to support one another. In the end, bullying isn't just a personal issue for the victim, it is a communal problem that impacts everyone. By standing strong against bullying, we can protect not only those who are targeted, but the broader community as well, creating a space where safety, respect, and kindness prevail. Every member of the community, whether they're directly involved or not, plays a role in fostering an environment where bullying is unacceptable and where everyone has the chance to feel valued and respected. Courage is often misunderstood as the absence of fear, but true courage is not about being fearless. It is about acting in spite of fear, standing up for what is right, even when it feels uncomfortable or difficult. In the fight against bullying, this kind of courage is crucial. It's easy to be silent when bullying occurs, to look the other way to avoid conflict in order to protect ourselves from the discomfort that standing up can bring. However, choosing to stand strong against bullying requires the courage to face that discomfort, to push through our own fears, and to make a difference. Many people don't intervene in bullying situations because they fear the consequences. They worry about becoming a target themselves or feel unsure about what to do. In these moments, the challenge is to recognize that the consequences of inaction, allowing bullying to persist unchecked, are far greater than the discomfort of standing up. When we choose not to act, we allow bullying to continue, and we reinforce the idea that it is acceptable behavior. The fear of standing up in those moments often pales in comparison to long-term harm caused by leaving the situation unchallenged. Standing strong against bullying requires the courage to speak out when others are silent. It may mean standing between a victim and a bully, offering words of support to someone who feels alone, or reporting the behavior when it's happening. This courage doesn't need to be dramatic. It can be as simple as saying, "That's not okay," or "You don't deserve to be treated that way." These small acts of defiance against bullying can have a powerful impact, showing the victim that they are not alone and sending a clear message to the bully that their behavior will not be tolerated. This courage also extends to the willingness to challenge bullying in less obvious ways. It's not just about confronting someone who is actively bullying, but also about creating a culture where bullying is not acceptable. It's about calling out microaggressions, speaking out against exclusionary behaviors, and making sure that everyone feels safe and respected. It's about being proactive, not just reactive, and building environments, whether in schools, workplaces, or communities, that don't tolerate bullying in any form. It takes courage to challenge the status quo, to stand up for those who may not have the voice to defend themselves, and to push for change even when it feels like the odds are against you. Moreover, standing strong requires the courage to make mistakes and learn from them. Sometimes standing up for someone may not go as planned, and it's easy to feel discouraged or unsure of whether your efforts made a difference. But true courage lies in the willingness to keep trying. Each attempt, no matter how small, contributes to a larger movement of change. Every time we stand up, we reinforce the idea that bullying is not acceptable and that we as a society value kindness and respect over cruelty. The courage to stand strong against bullying also involves standing up for ourselves. It is just as important to recognize when we are the ones being mistreated and to have the strength to set boundaries, speak out, and seek help when necessary. Bullying isn't only something that happens to others, it can happen to any of us. By standing up for ourselves, we model for others the importance of self-respect and the need to protect our own dignity in the face of mistreatment. Ultimately, the courage to stand strong against bullying is the courage to act despite fear, to challenge what is wrong, and to create a world where kindness and respect are the norms. It may feel uncomfortable at times, but it is always worth it. By standing strong, we help to build a culture where bullying is not tolerated and where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means choosing to act in the face of it, and that's what makes it powerful. Standing strong against bullying isn't just about raising awareness, it's about taking action. Awareness alone, while important, does not lead to change unless it is followed by meaningful, purposeful steps to address the problem. The reality is that everyone, whether you're a student, a teacher, a parent, a colleague, or a community leader, has a role to play in eradicating bullying. It's easy to believe that bullying is someone else's problem or that it's something that only affects a small group of people. But in truth, it affects us all, And if we all take responsibility for it, we can create an environment where bullying is no longer tolerated and where kindness and respect take center stage. First and foremost, it's essential that we recognize that we each have the power to influence the world around us. The more we step up, the more we set a precedent for others to do the same. This could mean stepping in when we see bullying happening, standing in solidarity with someone who's being mistreated, or speaking up against harmful jokes or comments. The collective actions of individuals can create a cultural shift, changing attitudes about what is and isn't acceptable behavior. When bullying becomes something that everyone actively rejects, it becomes less of an issue to manage because it's simply no longer tolerated. At the same time, standing strong means being proactive about creating a safer, more inclusive environment. Waiting until bullying occurs and then reacting isn't enough. We must foster an atmosphere where bullying is less likely to take root in the first place. This involves teaching empathy, respect, and emotional intelligence from an early age. It means creating spaces where people feel comfortable expressing themselves and where differences are celebrated rather than ridiculed. When we take the initiative to promote kindness and understanding in our communities, we help prevent bullying before it starts. We build resilience in individuals so that they feel empowered to stand up for themselves and others. Furthermore, standing strong involves holding people accountable for their actions. It's not enough to simply acknowledge that bullying is wrong. We must also be committed to addressing it when it happens. This means creating systems where bullying can be reported and dealt with in a fair and timely manner. It's about ensuring that there are clear consequences for those who engage in bullying behavior, but also offering support for them to learn and grow from their mistakes. It's about creating an environment where people are not afraid to speak up and where their voices are heard. This process requires courage and consistency, and it requires all of us to commit to making our communities safer and more welcoming for everyone. It's also important to recognize that standing strong is not a one-time event, it's an ongoing effort. Change doesn't happen overnight, and the fight against bullying is a continuous battle. We have to remain vigilant, constantly challenging ourselves to be better, to be kinder, and to stand up when we see injustice. When we make standing strong against bullying a part of our daily lives, we normalize it. We show that it's not just something we do when it's convenient or when it's easy, it's something we do because it's the right thing to do. Finally, standing strong means supporting those who are being bullied and showing them that they are not alone. It means offering help, reassurance, and a sense of community to those who may feel isolated or powerless. Bullying can make individuals feel worthless, invisible, or disconnected from the world around them. By standing strong, we remind them of their value, their worth, and their right to live without fear. Our support can make a world of difference, empowering them to find their voice and stand up for themselves. In the end, standing strong against bullying is about creating a culture of kindness, respect, and accountability. It's about taking action, being proactive, holding people accountable, and supporting each other. By committing to this, we can ensure that the fight against bullying doesn't end with awareness, it continues with change. We all have the power to shape the world around us, and by standing strong, we can create a future where bullying is no longer a part of our lives.